Should be working with audio now.
Okay. Are we good?
Looks like it. Check is checking.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we have a sound check, please? YouTube. Whole world.
Hello. Yeah. This is working.
Yes, it is working.
All right. For the second, take two. As I was saying, as an open project, an open source project, we have the luxury and something that a project that is really starting from scratch, basically saying that we're recreating something. We have the luxury to say, okay, what are we starting really from scratch? Okay, we leave behind what is there in the world. We're really starting from scratch, and what we are taking from the things that have been built in the past and building on top of it. Now, diversity in general, and women and men equality has been, people have been talking about that all over in all industries, and precisely in the high-tech industry for ages, for the last 20, 30 years, but nothing really has changed, right? We've seen venture capital industry all over again. We've seen executives in all board of director representation, government representation, and so on and so forth. And we thought, as we are here really starting, I hope, a new and better world, to include that into our general, I would say, mission, or some of our objectives that we want to accomplish, because it's very, very, very important. We've been talking about it for a long time, and we don't want to be this kind of organization that only talks about it because it's politically correct. You actually want to take actions. So that's why we are bringing this topic how to bring women into the pillar project as soon as it's this. I mean, this is where we're on. We're very early in this project in general, and very early in the curriculum in particular. So it was very interesting for us to bring that. With that note, I will hand it over to Tina and Anna, who are going to lead the discussion. It's going to be a fascinating discussion.
Thank you.
So, first of all, I just thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this discussion. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Tina Fogarty. I'm here with Adam Betteridge, and we, together with a team of people, worked supporting David and the core team for the ICA, and what we did to expand the mainstream media communication, and we were working in partnership with our friends who were handling everything from social media, YouTube, to all of the other wonderful publicity that occurred around the project. So I'd also like to introduce Anastasia.
Hi, my name is Anastasia, and I am a product manager outside of the Pillar project. Within the Pillar project, I'm aiming to essentially spread the word and grow the community as much as possible, and bring people in to help contribute.
And interestingly, Anastasia's come from London, and we're based in Surrey, and I come from London, and London is our home ground. So I think the first thing that I would like to speak about and to hear people's opinion is the crucial question: why do we need diversity within the Pillar project in the first place? And I think what we'd like to discuss, and I'd love to capture your comments, is why is it a good idea to have diversity at all in the project? And I'd just like to throw this out to you and to get your opinion.
Because the customers are diverse.
Sorry?
The customers are diverse.
The customers are diverse. Love it. Okay, so
People understand the customer.
and that's because we're saying that we're very much the user experience brand. That's what we're about. So by having diversity within the team, we've got greater diversity in understanding our customers. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Any other thoughts?
You have more information, you have everybody who's same knowledge. Have much more limited scope of information by having a more diverse
Thomas. Prevention of groupthink. That's Charles's contribution. Prevention of groupthink. Now, what is groupthink, Charles?
Groupthink is where you have a singular viewpoint, and everyone adheres to that. Kind of the opposite of the greater percent of diverse viewpoints.
Guys, can we talk a little bit louder because people who are watching YouTube can't hear it well. I'm trying to put the point directional mic, but
Okay.
if we can just talk a little louder.
Yes, please.
I need to get it to work first. Trying to.
Yeah, this is where we're going to move this closer to the okay? Is that better?
But it's not.
Can you hear us better now, guys? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
better?
yeah.
Thanks, guys. Sorry. So, thank you very
Pardon?
much.
Can they hear
Charles.
better?
Prevention of groupthink.
No?
It would be
What?
good if there's some input from some people over this side of the room. I can see you're bursting to say something. Yes.
I think it will give assurance to people that are using the product. Really, when I look into the company, I see that there's so they can take ownership of the perhaps because that would enable them to.
So you're saying it's greater reassurance for people who are involved in the project, for the people from the outside world. It's actually, people are looking for a diverse base when they're looking to invest in teams and invest in projects. That's great, and I didn't capture your name.
Pierre.
Theo, thank you. So let's just put this. So it's tying in with this. So it's almost as though it's seen as a perceived greater chance of success of the project. Would you say? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Yes. Yeah, I think it can be either actually. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Here.
That's great. Thanks.
Oh, is that USB-C? Okay.
So you don't see any
So,
new devices.
Can you have
is aligned with the mission of the project and aligned with the phrase killer for the people.
Avoid legal and regulatory issues. There are certain governments that set ratios for hiring these ratios not met, that there may be some form of discrimination going on, or it's not. So it's kind of an absent prevention for legal and regulatory issues.
USB-C has got its own thing.
And in terms of the legal and regulatory issues, is that more of an issue in certain territories than others? And industries, yes. So would you say, could you identify those areas or those industries where it's particularly important? Civil litigation. Okay.
If we have a monoculture or a 99% male culture, that would leave us very vulnerable to anyone wanting to suppose that we were practicing some form of discrimination, even if the crimes that were done in litigation. It's more we can make an argument rather than what the truth is. So it creates vulnerabilities if we don't have those. That should be way down the list of reasons to do it, but it's not about the list. It's not a valid reason to be inclusive.
Of course, but it's a good one to raise because then in many ways what it's showing is that a number of things work together to the same good effect.
This is a large organization with a lot of money, and people are going to want to attack to try and take that money away. And doing something stupid like having a monoculture which leaves you vulnerable to baseless claims of discrimination, that's just stupid. It's avoidable. Dumb is when you do something wrong, you don't know the difference. But stupid is when something we know we shouldn't do. So that's not good.
And yes. Greater resilience.
Yeah.
And why is there greater resilience?
Because having diversity in a project has many facets, and having diversity, no one will control it. If the group needs a different type of leader, it will come up.
Excellent. And remind me of your name.
Juan.
Juan, thank you. So that's great. Greater resilience. Do we agree that's a really good point?
Sure.
That's a very interesting point. That's really interesting. So, in other words, if you're truly aiming as an organisation, then you're going to get the best you can possibly get by being diverse in your outlook, which I think is a really, really good point, because I think that's already demonstrated to a degree with the people who gather here today. So that's really good. So, in terms of having, it enables you to recruit the best team. Yeah. Okay.
I would also say it will help you retain the best people once they're in the organization. They'll feel more connected if they see others, like them. I think
Yes.
it will really help in that.
Yeah, that's a very good point as well. Thank you.
And retaining,
Thank you.
maybe?
Yeah. And your name is?
Tristan.
Tristan. Thanks, Tristan.
I don't mean to put anyone on the spot, but I'd be curious what some of the women in the crowd have to respond to this.
I'm representing, I think.
I'm sorry.
Can you repeat the question?
I would just love to hear your perspective on this topic, because we've heard from all men, and this is our male-dominated group thing. What do you think?
Well, I think that these are all valid statements, and I myself identify with all of them throughout my working life, and I am just surprised it's still here after all these years. So yeah.
I'd also say that there's a question in terms of, if you look at management styles and approach, if you say rather than being male or female, I think the view is whether it's a masculine or a feminine style of approach. So it's an interesting thing, because I think a lot of people will say, actually, you want a mixture of whatever. Now, the question is, how do you define a masculine approach or a feminine approach? But that diversity can come across. It's not necessarily gender specific. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, in other words, you can have diversity as well through that.
I just want to add one more thing.
Yes.
That greater diversity gives you greater competition amongst each other. So
That's a really good one. Now, that's a very, very good point. So, and why do you think that is?
well, like in nature, like if you have, like dogs, for instance, there's no diversity in the genes, you get dogs that get sick easily. So when you have greater diversity in genes, you have like a healthier animal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the same goes with social organizations.
So it's greater competition. There's possibly better team working. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Love it. Okay, so greater competition.
So the thing that I always think about, I think the diversity, to me, it's more than just woman or man or your orientation. I think the second level, I think, is diversity of opinion, because you could have 100 people in the room, 50 men, 50 women, and they all agree on the same thing and still have groupthink. So that's one thing I like about the project, that we have people that not only are diverse in their biology, but different perspectives, different industries, and I think that's really when you can get harness the true power of diversity, when it's more than just what you look like.
No, that's great. So it's cognitive diversity, it's diversity of opinion, diversity of beliefs.
Yes.
Probably values. It'd be interesting to see. I expect there's probably quite a lot of allegiance on the values front. That's brilliant. Thank you. So what I'd love to do now, thank you. So we agree that diversity of opinion, cognitive diversity is where we want to be. So what I'd just love to explore for 5 minutes or so is what actions can we take now and agree that are going to make us more diverse and very open to diversity. So I know the subject was discussed yesterday, and I know Thomas got some input here.
But I think we need to, if we want to increase this diversity, particularly the one that we're discussing here about male and female difference, we should be very proactive in communicating and proactively bringing more women into the discussion. So as we can see here, I don't think for the moment we have done a very good job of attracting enough women into the discussion. So we need to go more proactively into other communities, other meetups or other congregations where women are present and engage them with the very existence of the Pillar Project and engage them proactively to be part of it.
Okay, so we go to groups, and do we think there are some groups already in existence? So in London there's a women's blockchain group, and there's women in
technology,
women in tech. So we need to reach out to the specialist groups. Okay, so we agree we're going to reach out to the specialist groups. Okay.
What I share is that in general, all of these nerdy things are more likely to be followed by men than by women.
Correct.
So if we want to achieve that on average we have in the Pillar Project more women than in general the whole industry of this environment has, that's going to be a big challenge, I think.
But it's also very aligned with our project. Our project is a project that is, elevated a bit more, even beyond crypto, right? So I think what we're talking about right now, about diversity in general, and reaching out to what you're saying is super true about, the non-nerdy people. It's very aligned with touching the woman population more, because it's something that is general. So
yeah, I think
we could use social media like we've been doing. Like maybe an example, we could do a couple profiles, like with Anastasia. There maybe we could produce like a 5-minute video of women in blockchain, and follow someone around for a day, and things like that. And just see their life. And then people can see it, and they can. I think that's more powerful than anything. We could talk, we could say this, but to actually see a person, engage with them, and then they could, people. I think that would inspire other women to join.
That's really good. And also on the communication front, do we think it's fair to say that so far, because of the nature of the project, that it's been particularly easy for developers who very male-orientated area, whereas as the campaign goes on, the communication side, that's really, really key. And so, for example, there could be situations in the future where there are certain areas that are more female-dominated, just by nature of the mix and the economic mix. Do we agree with that? Because I think we mustn't. I feel very strongly that the group as it is, there is nothing at all wrong with it at all. It's simply that because our end game is to have something that is wonderfully user-friendly and appropriate to people of all ages, then actually we just need to be there for the user experience. And obviously we're going to get that from the diverse group. And it's good to start soon.
Would it make any sense at all to have one of our live streams, of the series of live streams we would do, being more female-centric, presented by Pillar female members and hosted by them, just like as much as we would be hosting the other ones.
We were also saying about having within one YouTube channel to have multiple playlists and have like a weekly show on specific topics.
Exactly,
so
of the
this
weekly
could
show.
be something that you guys could do.
It's a portion of it.
Webinars, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just find interesting topics.
Yes.
We've got some awesome women involved in Pillar. We've got 2 right here. We've got Effie. We've got some other advisors. I think we could do a better job of highlighting them.
Well, a lot of our thinking here is inside out. You're talking to people that came to this event.
Absolutely.
I think we need to talk to the people that didn't come to this event and find out why they're not here. I mean, we can suggest stuff all day long, but it's really just us guessing. Why not just ask the people that didn't come, why didn't you attend? Or why not find an event which was maybe 90% of the people that showed up were women? And what were the characteristics of that event?
You wanted to say
kind
something?
of the same point.
Oh, right, okay.
It's really just like you have women or different groups that you can have a catered message sent to, and then do like these market surveys, to the people who aren't here, and like really see what motivates or drives them, and see what problems, or look at the specific problems that Pillar would solve for them.
Okay, so
Do we have what components would women be most interested in? Do we have a list of those?
Well, I mean, I think, in terms of attracting women to Pillar, I mean, if you have a higher mission, people who are really on board with that won't necessarily mind what path they have to take to get there if they sort of believe in it. And
what if it's not the mission somebody's interested in? What if it's a steady job that also conspires to mission? We don't know unless we talk to these people what drives them. It's the irony of a group of largely men sitting around and trying to tell women, to predict what women want to be here.
Careful phrasing, careful phrasing.
Yeah.
Yes.
do we know at all of those 13,000 people that were interested in the Pillar project, how many were female?
I don't think it was asked.
We could do a survey.
We could, yeah.
We don't need to ask that. To build upon, Kelea, hi. To build upon your information about Pillar, everybody here, do you know at least one female in your life? Does everybody know at least one female person? There you go. When you go back home, take that person out for a cup of coffee and talk about what you did this week.
Well, that's
and look at that feedback.
Highly relevant to me. I mean, I'm relatively new to this, but part of the fact that's got me not only into Pillar, but the whole crypto space and these projects as a whole, is the whole fairness. And yeah, I mean, just how fair it all is, and that helps me do my own research into more. It helps me spread the word to more people, and I really think if you want the best, it's not about, like you say, your background, your ethnicity, your male or female. You really want the best people in the project, people that would like to be here and like to take this thing as far as it can possibly go. Then you need to be as diverse as possible.
No matter what they look like, no matter where they've
Exactly.
come from, no matter where they think they want to go, just bring them in. Just
who-
everybody, one person. And whoever that conversation is with, you write back an email to Tomer and you say, I spoke to this person wants to do this. Okay, you ready for it?
Love to be flooded by
There you
emails.
go.
No.
There you go. 40 females will be coming in.
We could also do kind of an online event or something for all the women on our mailing list. It must be hundreds and hundreds.
But how do you know that that's the point that was addressed here? You can't ask, right?
Yeah, we can just say we're having a discussion online to talk about hiring women or having women involved in our project. And anybody wants to join can join.
Simple.
I think.
Is there anybody here who's involved in the education area at all? Excellent. Because it is interesting, isn't it, that obviously this is a particular area. If we're able to do something in the area of teenagers, of people making their choice about their degree, women in this area, because I think this is a long-term project, and perhaps this is something that we could actually look to get involved in the curriculum, certainly in the UK in some way. Edinburgh University is just starting a blockchain degree for the first time this year. So that's an opportunity, isn't it? So again, perhaps doing something in that sphere is going to, is that the sort of thing which we think could have a positive impact?
There are some communities, by the way,
very much centric to women on women on coding, how to integrate women into more like computer science studies. These are kind of the communities that we should get in touch with.
Things like, if you want more women coders, offer daycare. It could be something that's really off the map of what we're talking about right now. We're not going to know until we ask.
The idea of this, and if this is one of the takeaways that we need to go and ask, then fantastic. The idea of this meeting was to lay down these things, right? So that's a very first step from hearing what everybody has to say, and we understand that obviously we're like 40, 50 people here, predominantly males, and right now we need to go and expand and use more of the community and reach out to other communities. That's a lot of baby steps. So that's what we're all about.
And do we also think that we have a really good opportunity to, in terms of the communication of the Pillar project, because it's going to be mainstream, that we need to, if we say, by dint of communicating in a way that's mainstream, that people understand and comprehend, then we're going to get more buy-in from women, because as we, as basically we broaden the scope of what we're communicating. So perhaps we have to have part of the communication program is actually making what we're doing very relevant to mass market. Yeah? So there is a benefit of having that mass market communication, so that when Pillar comes about, it's not something so new, they've heard about it, and it's something that's been discussed.
Are we getting any messages on the live stream for any ideas?
We have one interesting message that is the point that was made just before. Zlak is commenting. The thing is, I have 50-50 male-female in my office. 90% of men do crypto and 0% of women. So I think that the educational problem is to highlight here more and more.
Creating more awareness in the crypto community.
Yeah. And somehow we have to reach firstly to the communities. There is a community, I think, in New York, organized by DGC, when weekly, or one time weekly, there is a blockchain women meeting, and ladies are just discussing their efforts in this space, and probably reaching to them would give us some answer maybe on how to attract them, yeah, and how to collaborate with them.
Excellent. So
there's also
there are some groups already there, and then we can have some influence in those groups, and in return they can be involved. Yes.
There's also some women in crypto who are pretty successful, like Tony Lane Casserly. We could contact her, see if she would be interested. I mean, she's a very inspiring person, and a woman, so, and in crypto.
Yes. Okay. That's great. So opinion
there's some
form
others
is in
also.
the crypto area. Yeah.
Bring us some role models. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially people that are from the scene. There's also, there's some other people also that I know.
Or at least allow the public to go into Pillar and have a heading to say female role models in crypto. So at least you can click in. David?
We're trying to communicate a lot, and one of the things we're using is this newsletter, and it would be great to have a woman who wants to try to connect with women via our newsletter, to just kind of have, start that dialogue, right? Through kind of everyday communications.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so the newsletter is a vehicle that we can use, and that's a great practical opportunity.
So when everybody goes for their coffee meetings, see if any of your female friends wants to be involved in the newsletter. There you go.
What about running a contest specific for women, or for women developers?
There's already contests for female developers. They're aimed more at teenagers. They are worldwide. I can get you that information. But they are international setup already.
Isn't that like a form of discrimination, though?
Of course
Yeah,
it is.
as long as we wrote one for men, I'd support it.
But I would
or
also
sponsoring one of these contests.
You
or
could
whatever
sponsor.
else can.
You could sponsor these.
But it seems like it includes, I don't, it doesn't seem right to me to have only women's only contest, unless they said a men's only, but it doesn't seem fair.
Unless we do a lesbian one and a gay one and a transgender one as well.
Because at what point is diversity more important?
Got more pronouns after that.
There you go.
That's right.
We have also a comment that it somehow fits well in this discussion. Michael Grob says, this should be a meritocracy. We are in business. Merit should override everything. Diversity, I agree, but merit should always come override diversity. It's harsh, it's more, but still.
There should be opportunity for all. There should be inclusion for all. And merit is kind of blind to the code doesn't care who wrote it. So, there's product diversity, in terms of diversity who we sell to, and there's workplace diversity, and I don't know which one we're talking about.
There is a view that diversity, I think in its broadest scope, hence why the typical, my personal view is that if you look at something, say for instance, if you look at disability, the subject of disability, the reason why you want to manage that well, because you judge society by how you treat your disabled people, actually. If you don't treat them well, then that doesn't make you a very good, and I think that's really the message is, for me, it's all about just we're all connected, and if we can do the best, for families, if we can do the best for individuals, if we can do the best for young, old, whatever source, whatever ethnicity, that's great. Now I'm just going to ask you one question. I hope I'm not going off piece, but I just wondered if anyone has done a little map of the locations of where everyone's come from today. Because what I'd just like to do is I just want to just do a little visual of the various places that people have come to get to here today, in terms of the countries that they've travelled from to get here. Is that okay? Is that all right? Would you mind if I do that? Is that okay? So if we say this is Poprad, so I'm just going to, I'd like actually to start from here, actually, if I may. So if you can shout out, thanks. If you can shout out where you've come from.
Roughly Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, okay. So we can just find it, don't worry.
Yeah.
You should probably zoom out. Yeah. Tina, yes. You should probably zoom out.
Start with Rio de Janeiro, so we can,
There are some people that are coming from the West Coast. This is Amsterdam.
Okay, Amsterdam. Can you go?
Mumbai. Poznań, Poland.
Poland?
Yeah, Poznań.
London.
London.
Tel Aviv.
London.
Sweden, Malmö. Sweden.
Miss Tel Aviv.
No, Tel Aviv.
California.
We have cities, we have states, we have countries. Take over all the way.
Germany.
Germany.
London.
New York.
New York.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Malaysia. Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Colombia.
Berlin, Germany.
Switzerland.
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 Arizona.
London.
Frankfurt.
Pennsylvania.
Transylvania.
No,
Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State, yeah.
Missouri.
Missouri.
Well, same as the lady writing. Sorry, London.
Oh, no, sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry? Sounds like sorry.
London,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Vilnius, Lithuania.
Michigan.
New York.
Yeah, that's right.
Utah.
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 Yes. Yeah.
Second one.
Say two
Oh,
Utahs.
sorry.
Maryland.
Maryland.
Switzerland.
And London.
Yes. Now, I know that we haven't got everybody here, and actually David is obviously, yeah, David, Switzerland. Not everybody is here, but I think what you cannot deny is the diversity of the different places that people have come from. And I think that is absolutely essential because the cultural diversity is really, really strong. And I don't think I would have automatically have known had I not asked the question. There's quite, how many people here are from the United States, which is fantastic because I know that's a really long journey for you. Malaysia is a very, very long way to come. And obviously and Colombia, of course.
But it's the country, not the state.
No, but this is, obviously not everybody's here. This is just a selection. But I think it has to be said that the diversity in terms of culture is very, very strong, and it's great. And I for one think it's really, really, I can't remember the last time that I was with a group of people willingly in an environment where they chose to be with such a good diverse mix of people in the business setting. So, does anyone else have any questions on that? Because I would like to hand over to Kelea, who's I know wants to talk to us about peak performance coaching.
Thank you so much for leading this conversation.
Shall I start right in? Yep. Okay. In case anybody did not figure out who I am, my name is Kelea, and I am a professional archer. I shoot stuff. And I am a peak performance coach, which means I help people figure out what they want and help them figure out all the things that are currently blocking them from getting it, and help them to get it. So, I use many tactics, some of them more scary than others. I don't have my bow today, I don't have my arrows, so I will not be hurting any one of you. This was not prepared by Pillar at all. This is just because I'm here, so we're going to use and abuse as much as we can. So, very, very short. I'm not going to do a major coaching session because normally I work one-on-one. So we're just going to go over 3 very basic things that you can take with you. Okay? First things. Computers, iPads, phones, no paper on the floor. You're so obedient. This is going to be great. Okay, next thing you're going to do. I need a volunteer. Come on. Come on. We have 2 volunteers, even better. Okay, please sit in the chair. Can we see on the films? Yes. So come on over. Introduce yourselves.
Tomer. Josh.
Okay, have a seat. Okay. Now, everybody in the room is going to do it along. These are going to be our models. First thing to do when you're feeling stressed. Who's been stressed in the past week? Examples of being stressed. Just yell them out.
Catching the train.
Okay.
Plane is late.
Ah, nice.
Traffic.
Okay? Any fear-based stress? Yep. Turbulence. Let's go with turbulence then. Everybody's in the airplane. It's starting to go, the ding goes, your seatbelt is on. Remember, if you're sitting in the chair in the airplane, you have to keep your seatbelt on. What can you do to calm yourself down? You don't have to be calm, but you have to calm down. Okay? Go.
Breathe.
Breathe. Before you even, okay, you still have to breathe, but before you even breathe, what's something super easy that you can do as soon as the turbulence comes?
Pressing your feet on the ground.
Yeah. Feet on the ground. Do not cross your legs. Do not cross your arms. Why? What does that change to your body? What does that change to your philosophy?
No tension.
That changes how you breathe. So feet flat on the floor, back against the back of the chair, shoulder blades against the back of the chair, shoulder blades against the back of the chair. Close your eyes, take a deep belly breath. Let it out. How long does that breath have to be in order to get a benefit?
As long as you want.
Okay. Is there a minimum? Have people heard about 5 seconds
6
in,
seconds.
5 seconds out?
6 seconds and 4 seconds in, or the opposite?
5 in, 5
whatever's
keeping it,
4
5 out is 5 keeping
Louder.
Whatever's comfortable.
There you go. Okay? If turbulence is coming on and you start going, okay, how many seconds am I supposed to breathe in with? How many seconds am I supposed to breathe out with? No. Doesn't matter. So feet on the floor and a breath is great. But there's a few little things that we're going to do, so I'm going to give you 3 things to go because I like 3. Feet flat on the floor. We are going to turn our hands palms up, and we're going to stretch out our fingers, and you're going to breathe 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax your hands. Okay, sense your arms just for a second. You've tensed the muscles, and now they've relaxed. Instantly, your upper body is more relaxed than it was before. You might not sense it, but your body is more relaxed. Okay? Next thing you can do is put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Okay? 5, well, you can't talk when you do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Third thing you're going to do is close your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, shake out for a sec. And we're going to put them all together. Turbulence comes. Brrr. Feet flat on the floor. Hands over, palms up. Stretch out your fingers, tongue on the roof of your mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. That's your first thing. Okay, 1 thing done, 2 more left. Good. You guys okay with that? Is that too weird for anybody?
Why do you have to keep your hands like this?
Okay, let's try it. Palms down, stretch out your fingers. Okay, now relax your hand. Feel the difference in your wrist? This is the way you're on a keyboard, right? This is not the way your hands are on a normal basis.
Taking them out of their comfort
Yeah.
zone. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, it's these little things that you can do that don't cost any money, but you can just add them to your daily routine. You can do this with turbulence. You can do it in the car when you're stopped at a light. You can do it in the elevator between floors. Okay, these are just little add-ons. Thank you. That was wonderful. Bravo, bravo, bravo. You guys can go Okay, so number 2. That was, first one was chill. Okay, number 2 is going to be chew. Chew. Okay. How to do this with a victim? Who wants to be a victim? Go ahead. Everybody's still smiling though, right? This is pretty good.
Let's sit down.
Yeah. Sit. You can lie down. We can put a few together for you. Okay. What did you have for lunch?
I had a traditional Slovakian meal. I don't know what it's called.
Was it good?
Is it good though, buddy?
It was pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was good.
How long did it take to eat it?
5 minutes. I eat fast.
You eat fast.
Yeah.
What happens when you eat too fast?
Indigestion.
Yeah. How does that make you feel for the rest of the afternoon?
Not so good.
Yeah. Okay. How many times a day do you eat?
3 times a day.
There you go. 3 times a day, you have control over how your body will function for a couple of hours after. Chew. Whatever it is, even if it's crap, chew it down. Your stomach does not have teeth. Okay? This is where the digestive process starts. You will not absorb the nutrients as efficiently if you're eating too fast, if you're stressed out when you're eating, and if you have eaten big, huge chunks, swallow them down, and expecting your stomach to get it out on the other end. Okay? So, how long should you chew food? Anybody can answer that. How do you know if you've chewed enough before you swallow?
It's swallowable.
It's swallowable. Very good. The easiest way to test is if your tongue can still figure out what you're chewing on, you haven't chewed it enough. Okay? Is that logical? Everybody does realize that tonight when you're eating, this is going to be going through your head, and you're going to be like, what did Kelea make me do? Somebody has a question on the other side.
How do you know that?
It's from years of studying.
How do you know?
I've actually done some self-testing on it, and I've also watched people eat and then looked at what happens to them about an hour later, especially during competition.
Measure the outcomes?
No. Do you want to measure them for me the next time we test this at Pillar? Okay. So, chewing.
Okay.
Chew, chew. Thank you.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. Okay, for this one, I'm sitting in the chair. You have to close your eyes, so you might want to sit down too. We have people standing, so we don't want anybody to fall over. Come on, get a chair, sit down. There you go. Now, close your eyes. Everybody does it very, very good. Raise your hand if in the couple days that you've been here, you've spoken to someone who you relate to, either by language, by country, by job, by education. You've spoken to someone who you kind of go, yeah, cool, this is great. Okay, YouTubers, everybody put their hand up. Okay, cool. Eyes are still closed. Now, has anybody said, you put your hands down, it's okay, Charles. Has anybody said something to you that you've never heard before? Fabulous. Now, big question. Who has said something to someone else that that person has never heard before? Great, great. Okay, third rule, keep your eyes closed. I want everybody to think of something that is uniquely beautiful to them, to their personality, to their being, that they think is special to them. Nobody else might know about it, but you have something inside of you that just makes you smile in that smug little way because you've got a secret that is absolutely wonderful. Okay, everybody's got something? Okay, if it's not illegal, tell the person beside you. Go ahead, open your eyes, share. Only if you don't get into trouble, okay? But just talk amongst yourselves and just kind of say something to the person beside you. Did you know that I do that? Go ahead, come on, louder. Okay, all good? Tonight, When you're brushing your teeth, after you've chewed your food and before you go to sleep, one of the last things I want you to think about is something that is special about you. Okay? We're going to be hearing a lot about everybody else this week and about why that person has done this and they're incredible and they've had this many companies, they've made this many millions or whatever. But I never want anybody to ever feel that their participation this week or next week, wherever you go home to, there will always be something that is unique to you. Never forget about it. Okay? Congratulations, that's your first coaching session. Good job.
Thank you.
Oh, we're going back there. Okay.
There's diversity and there's, outcomes and opportunity. Diversity of outcomes and opportunity is two different things. As long, I feel like, give everyone a chance, but if it happens that, 90 men are in the business, why is it a problem? I don't see why it's a problem. I mean, if you want the best, then you just give it, because in America, you just want a fair chance, right? Let the best succeed. I understand we should focus on it and do things messaging and stuff, but I don't know about contests or specific things that are just women. To me, it's you're sacrificing fairness at the expense of diversity, and I just have a problem with it.
So, really, I was going to say, speaking with one of the Ethereum founders from a while ago, was explaining the concept of how money is a proxy for reputation in a lot of ways. Like David said earlier about the whole hippo way of thinking, the highest paid person's opinion, that kind of thing. But one of the great things about blockchain that we can certainly build up to is this development of reputation systems, whether that's on a business level, holding them accountable for the materials they're using and their business practices, or even on an individual level when reputation systems have more of a place in society. It doesn't matter what your background is or what you're doing, it's kind of the quality of your output and everything. It's a more objective measure than just the current kind of status quo and the current sort of dogmatic top-down beliefs that we're all trying to overcome in our own sort of ways, which means, this group should be, say, old people in society who, if they don't have that kind of financial output or that working capital, they're not valued as much. Or, like I said, gender, age, ethnicity, race, whatever it might be. But I'm excited on both an individual level and a business level. I think reputation systems come into place.
I think
that kind of shifts the emphasis from being profit maximizing firms in terms of a purely economic capacity to what else do we value as society that warrants reputation.
No, I hear that. I guess my thing is a philosophical question. I value fairness and equality over that. Diversity doesn't mean equality, and I feel like equality and fairness
I think you're right.
is the most important thing.
And perhaps the other thing just to bear in mind is that I do understand exactly what you said. If we're meeting here in 5 years' time and there's still the same mix of people, and we've still done all that stuff, is anyone going to have a problem? I don't think so. The truth is that we, at this starting point, we just need to face up to what's very clearly obvious. And if it works out that we do all this outreach, and that actually there are a lot of people, a lot of women just aren't interested, so be it. And I think you're right. I think truth is, actions speak for a lot. And I'm lucky because in my background, my husband brought up my kids. He was a fireman, and he was the one who was always looking after them. He stopped working when I worked. And so my view is that we're all the same. We don't need to have that gender-specific thing. However, at the same time, we also need to be aware of our own biases. And I think one's own bias comes across when you look at the numbers and you disable the numbers are here. We need to do something to address it. But as we say, fairness, eventually the judgment will be on those people who've got stuck into the project. And I know you've sacrificed a lot to be involved, and there are a lot of other people who have done too.
And I'm not saying I approve of all these actions, but I just think it's something that we should stay in mind, because I think if we go down a road of quotas or things like that, in the United States, affirmative action type stuff, it just doesn't work, in my opinion. And we should try to communicate to to everyone, like do all things, video, this and that, but like we can't like look and say it's not a success because we, you know, like I mean, it's almost feeling like it's devaluing people by putting a number to them, like we need, you know, oh, we don't have enough black people, we need to get black people in to get a job because they're black, you know, like it's almost like, I don't know, I dislike the concept.
Yeah, I think it's called positive discrimination, which is a different kind of, which is still a kind of discrimination. So one would hope that it's just organic and that actually we are.
Yeah. But it's just a quick one though. It's more about the systemic reason why females fall off the cliff. Even if the company acquires them, they don't retain them. Why? What are we doing systematically wrong? It's not about chasing quotas. That's not the issue. Just giving the opportunity means attracting them and retaining them. Why are they falling off? What are the reasons? Articulating those things, dealing with those reasons within the organization.
Let's take a you know, let's go 30,000 feet up for a second. The idea of this, okay, was absolutely not to give any quotas, or it's always going to be about productivity, right? We need to provide, we need to advance with the project, we need to go as far as it is in terms of productivity and in terms of, you know, providing the value and, you know, carry it the way that we really wanted to disrupt the world with that. We all agree at the same time that the long-term objective of diversity is going to be good and is aligned basically with what we're doing. So it's not about, it's not one at the expense of the other. It's not, okay, we're going to be about diversity, but it's going to be at the expense of productivity. And it's going to be, okay, so we need to be diverse, so we're going to impose quotas, so we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's not about that. It's about bringing very early on into the discussion about the long-term objectives of the project, at the same time saying that it goes hand in hand with diversity because it's going to be good for the project in the long term. So we need to make sure, and as you said, Charles, we need to reach out actually to people in, you know, okay, it's nice to have a good discussion here in this room, but actually what the people want in the community and then in the greater community as we grow. So that's a very important one. But it was never about imposing quotas or hindering productivity at the, you know, just to be diverse. That's not the idea.
Diversity is the metric, it's not the outcome. Diversity is the measure by which we judge the outcome we're after. And what we're not talking about is the outcome we're after, which is, I think, inclusion. And diversity is just an indicator of whether we've created a place which is inclusive. I mean, maybe in order to get other people to want to work here, the practical approach is to offer daycare and free laundry. And sometimes you do those things and it benefits everyone in the group. Like closed captioning on TV. It draws in a particular audience, but it also benefits everybody because I see closed captions running in bars all the time where people who can hear are reading the closed captions because they can't hear above the noise in the bar. And so sometimes the pursuit of diversity can create benefits for all if it's done in a way which is fair and doesn't create a new system of discrimination.
That's what I agree with. That's my only thing. I just wanted to say it at the beginning, you know, just so like, because an organization can go down that path, you know, and if you go down that path, then it's...
And the idea of all that, and Josh, right, it goes back to that.
Have you heard of colony.io?
Colony, sure.
Yeah, that's Kanban and task management, and then it's completely blind as well in terms of input, output, and value. So that seems like a good system for this group since we're talking about all that. Right. The only thing is they're closed on the better. Maybe David can swing it.
So, yeah, I think, you know, I mean, this is
quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a more interesting point because it doesn't care so much about anything in particular other than what's happening.
100% agree.
It's all about the path forward rather than being diverse or anything like that. And as Giles said, diversity is kind of a thing that we can correlate with stuff rather than provide as the goal.
It was never about the goal. If this is what you got from this meeting,
no,
okay.
I'm just clarifying.
The idea, this is not the goal. Diversity is not the goal. Diversity is by saying very, very early on from the conversation that it needs to be part of that because we are actually, because we actually want to be inclusive and we want to focus on the process itself and on advancing toward the goal. But we want to be inclusive, and we want to be inclusive as a proactive measure. That's the idea, that's the thing that I wanted to add. We need to be proactive. Like, you know, like a good relationship. You have to fight for a good relationship. You have to work around that. And the same goes with diversity. You have to work on diversity in order to make it work so that you can actually focus on the process. Coming back to you.
Any more comments?
Yes.
I think you just have to be, I think it goes back to a conversation about communication and the messaging that you're putting out there. Because you can't force anyone, you know, group or people to join, but what you can control is the message that you put out there and make sure that it's getting, you know, to a wide enough group of people so that everybody hears that message. And then you can, what's common, we talked a little bit about, you know, there's, you know, different groups and personas and, you know, have different messages that can kind of cater to those audience. So you make sure you are being inclusive and getting that message out there, and those who are interested will choose to participate, and it will be because, you know, they want to, and that's what you want.
Yeah, I just wonder what part of this fact that 9-to-1 ratio has to do with nature versus nurture. And I mean, nobody was preventing anybody from coming here whatsoever. None of the language that I read had anything to do with gender whatsoever, but it happens to be a roughly 9-to-1 ratio. And why is that the case?
That's coming back to Charles' point earlier. You know, we have to get out of this room and actually ask the people, first of all, in the community, right? Like, okay, there was this event in Poprad, why didn't you come? And, you know, 30,000 people, I don't know how you would have welcomed everybody, but, you know, from a logistical standpoint. But more seriously, it's really about that. I don't like the answer for that.
Yeah, I would think that this has been widely explored in sociological circles, and that the data is out there to give indications what's going on without having to do a test ourselves on this issue. What is out there and been published regarding gender and the type of environment where 9 men come to 1 woman? I would think the information is available.
On our email newsletter, we have about the same ratio, probably close to representative of people getting the newsletter. Might be, you know, there's some sampling error because we're a small number, but pretty close.
Because Charles' previous point about, you know, what if you just introduce something simple like daycare? I mean, the point of Poprad was so that people could bring their families, right? How many people brought their families? Probably not a lot of people.
How many planned to bring their families and then something happened and they couldn't bring their families?
Yeah, Paola commented on our live stream that she couldn't come because she's looking after the kids. So it's a symbolic comment, I would say, in this discussion.
Well, for me, I would not be here if my husband was not here. So I've come because he is here. How many people had a spouse, girlfriend, who might have come if you had twisted the arm a little bit more? Anybody? Or a sister, or a mom, or a daughter?
I have to say, Kelea, I really like your idea as well of just, who knows, one woman in their life.
That's going to be the easiest thing. It's not painful. They don't have to know anything about crypto. But just kind of say, hey, this is what I learned last week. Are you interested in learning more with me?
The answer I've got to that from all my flatmates is no. I don't stop talking about it now. It's all money in my head. I don't care about money. I want to get away from it. I try to explain more Some of them are interested, but generally females don't want to talk about money. So that seems to be the thing.
Females don't want to talk about money.
Well,
so
not all of them. What I'm saying is, in general, when I'm at home talking about this, they're like, well, we use one thing and not the other. Large portions of my house don't want to go diving into the banking system.
Okay.
And that's what got people into cryptocurrency largely in the first place. That's where Bitcoin kind of came from. And you kind of have to go down quite a rabbit hole in that side of things. And I find that like the girls in my house are more interested in selling glitter at festivals because it's fun.
Okay, because a lot of people still attach finance and crypto. They make it very much together.
Yeah, I think that's probably quite a big issue with the whole blockchain landscape at the moment. It's so alien to most people's ordinary worlds. There's no familiarity, there's nothing they can latch onto to really understand how to sort of bridge this understanding and begin developing that. But on Wednesday afternoon, 3 p.m. till 4 p.m, we've got lots of great communicators in the room. I would love some other people to sort of speak with me and perhaps, you know, say actually in 10 minutes I can explain a bit about how to do either PR or market it or sell it or just kind of bridge that gap for everyday people who don't understand this. We start talking about blockchains and hashing and all this. This doesn't mean anything to a lot
How
of
many
people.
people are interested in coming to this? Hands up. Okay, sold. There you go.
It's easy to say.
Wednesday,
It's just like digital gold. It's a new type of money.
Okay.
Something like blockchain.
Everybody say goodbye to our audience.
It's just
Bye.
it's not very glamorous.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank you.